One of the very most important things that ever happened to me in my life was when my heart stopped. I had surgery at Mayo Clinic, and they told me stay around for a few days in the hotel in case anything happens, and then you can go back to Maui after a few days. So that night in the hotel, I got real cold, like I was getting the flu. And it was so cold I was shivering, and I thought it was the flu. And we got all the covers we could find in the room, and we took a drape down and put that over me, everything we could find. And it must have been about 11 at night, I'm not sure, but Mom and I fell asleep. I was awake though, and it was just shaking. And all of a sudden, everything stopped. And I found myself up on the ceiling, looking down. I knew I was in spirit. It was a wonderful feeling. But I was looking down and I saw my body laying in the bed. So I knew I was spirit, and Mother was in the bed, sleeping. And being spirit, I kind of stood up, but I could still see my body in the bed. And then it was like I could turn around and look at the skies, and everything was just a soft white light. I mean, nothing was dark, it was just a soft white light. And the feeling, I can't even explain it, but it was just wonderful. I turned around, standing up, and walked towards the light, and there were two angels up ahead. And when I saw these two angels, I felt so good, and I started singing the old rugged cross. So being in the spirit, I knew all the words to the song, the old rugged cross, and I'm singing that, walking towards the two angels ahead of me. I saw them clearly, and as I approached them, just before I got to them, a voice came. It was a voice of authority, and it said, "Harold, get back in your body right now." And zip, I was back in my body, laying in the bed there. And when I woke up, I remembered what I had seen. I remembered the two angels and the voice. And I woke up Shirley, said, "You got to call the ambulance." She called the ambulance. They took me back to the hospital. And they knew right away what was wrong, that I had septic poisoning. I'd gotten an infection from the surgery. And they knew exactly what had happened. They call it septic poisoning because the infection goes all through your whole body. And only 50% of the people that happens to live. The other half dies, and they don't come back when they hear that voice. But I heard that voice, and it was so wonderful. We got to the hospital okay, and I don't regret that experience. It was the most wonderful feeling I had in my whole life. Everything was perfect. Everything was good. There were no negative thoughts or anything like that. And everything was good. That's the only thing I can describe it by. And I was in the hospital then for another week on heavy antibiotics to kill the infection. They were able to do that, and I recovered from that. And I remember that it's the most beautiful experience I've ever had in my life, and it removed any fear I ever had of dying, because God makes it so wonderful for us when our life does stop, our physical life.
So when you went to the hospital, did they determine that your heart had stopped in the hotel room, or what?
Oh yeah.
You'd had a heart attack, or what?
Yeah, so then I had to go back in the clinic, and they found they found a little bit of damage on the right side of my heart, the heart muscle. So since that time, because when your heart stops, the circulation stops of the blood, and you start dying. And one side of my heart started to die. And fortunately, when they examined me back in the hospital, they said, fortunately, we have medication that you can take to help your heart pump. So there's one that I take that helps the heart pump better, and I take a couple more to dilate my blood vessels, and I still take